Welcome to IndoctriNation, a weekly conversation series about protecting yourself from systems of control. I'm your host, Rachel Bernstein.
Hi, I'm Rachel Bernstein. I'm an educator and a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've worked with victims of cults and high control groups for 30 years now. I serve on the advisory board of the International Cultic Studies Association, where I conduct workshops at conferences. It's been a busy few years with lots of media appearances, like on Unwell on Netflix and the Starz documentary Seduced Inside the NXIVM Cult, and many interviews on NPR and Bloomberg and other news outlets who are curious about cults and QAnon and the like. And I'm so happy they're curious. I love the opportunity to be able to help educate the public about these issues. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about my podcast, IndoctriNation, a weekly podcast covering cults, manipulators, and protecting yourself from systems of control. I wanted to start a show that gives survivors a chance to tell their stories and for experts to teach us what they know. My goal for IndoctriNation is to empower the listeners to protect themselves and those they love from predators, toxic personalities, and destructive organizations. And since I started the podcast, and I can't believe this, I've interviewed over 150 survivors who continually impress me with their bravery and their insights. Experts and journalists who took the time to come on to cover dozens of different high control groups and cults from a variety of different angles. The podcast also examines the dangers of multi-level marketing groups and right-wing conspiracy groups, unregulated recovery groups and residential centers, radicalization, abusive relationships with narcissists, and anywhere really that systems of control and manipulation are used. Here's some of the feedback I've received from listeners and guests alike.
I just really appreciate this podcast and the work that you're doing. So thank you for just giving people like me and people, all kinds of people, a voice, and I'm looking forward to more episodes for sure.
I've been such a huge fan of your podcast and your work, and this has been transformational and helpful for a number of my clients and the people I work with. I've been sharing your narcissistic abuse episode to a number of my clients who have found it really important. So thank you.
I always really appreciate these opportunities and the work that you and other people have podcasts and who just like write and talk about this stuff. It's great.
Just this conversation that the two of us are having and knowing that other people might listen to this or might listen to another person that was speaking out against Scientology. Because in the beginning, that's the thing that sparked or that triggered my waking up process. Even though it was very, very little in the beginning and it slowly built up, kind of like a slow burn. But it's the videos or the podcasts that are like this that eventually will help other people leave Scientology and other mind-controlling cults.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your work, and the IndoctriNation podcast is wonderful and very helpful. So thank you for producing that for everyone.
Rachel has over 30 years of experience and adds a much-needed voice to both the public's education on the issue and recovery from the toxic group or individual experiences.
IndoctriNation offers a nuanced perspective of the complexity of human experience. Your words of advice are always worthwhile pearls of wisdom.
I'm an actor, writer, filmmaker, and I'm also a cult survivor. We should all be so grateful for the important work that Rachel is doing, and I promise you that you'll learn a ton about just how easy it is for any of us to fall prey to the multitudes of sociopaths and manipulators that are out there.
Thanks for getting all these people out of cults for so many years.
You're welcome.
It's a high five.
Nice. Here's a brief example of the conversations you will find on our show.
One of the biggest tricks of cults is making you feel that you're empowering yourself while you're ultimately giving your money, your time, your focus, and your praise towards an individual.
Yeah.
And that's everything from NXIVM to Jim Jones to L. Ron. It's that it goes into a lot of phrases about we and us, but there's usually one person giving those phrases. There's one person who's the conduit, and it's really everything flipped on its side. I mean, if someone just came out and they said, I'm making a cult celebrating me, it would never work. I think a lot of people really misunderstand that right from the get-go. They're like, how come people don't know they're in a cult? How come people don't see that this is an obvious cult leader? And that's because those people, they never start by presenting it as about them. It's always about giving you power, you wisdom, you clarity, a new sense of emotional stability. And, you know, I mean, you look at NXIVM, for example, which I've definitely been obsessed with because it's like a weird, evolved, compressed version of Scientology in some respects. And it's really all about self-betterment, but it's really all about Keith Raniere, you know, I mean, that he is the focal point, and he never really says that this is about me, even though he's called the Vanguard and L. Ron is called Source. You know, I mean, that they're never the god of this creation, but they act as if they are, and they're celebrated as if they are. And it's this whole disguised narcissism of basically you hide behind something that's selfless and is absolutely profiting you. I think the catnip for a lot of them is basically having that sort of arrangement where people are grateful to you for giving them the keys to this new land of opportunity and emotional control that you alone hold.
Listen to Indoctrination for free anywhere podcasts are available, and also get bonus content by becoming a supporter of the show at patreon.com/indoctrination. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can also reach out to me personally at indoctrinationshow@gmail.com or contact me at Bernstein LMFT @gmail.com to inquire about counseling or the former member support group I run every other Wednesday night. I look forward to hearing from you, and I wish you well on your journey of education and healing. Take good care.